The sun hung like a golden ball in the sky, relentless and unforgiving. The desert stretched endlessly, its waves of sand shimmering in the heat. Captain Alex Mercer squinted through the glare, wiping sweat from his forehead. His boots sank into the warm sand with every step, and yet he did not slow down. He had a mission to complete, and he would not let the harsh conditions stop him. Alex's team of human explorers had been sent to this newly discovered planet to map water sources, record unusual wildlife, and report back to the United Earth Council. The planet, officially named Thalara 9, was mostly desert, with jagged mountains and dry valleys, but rumors of strange life forms had reached the Council. Some were skeptical, but Alex had never been one to ignore a challenge. "Captain," said Lieutenant Mira Hahn, his second-in-command, panting as she adjusted her wide-brimmed hat. "We've been walking for hours. The sun is brutal. Are you sure this path is safe?" Alex paused for a moment, his hand shading his eyes. He scanned the horizon, where heat waves danced over distant dunes. "Safe or not," he said firmly, "we keep going. We'll find that water source, Mira. And if we find something unusual along the way, we help it. That's what explorers do." Mira frowned but nodded. She trusted Alex. He had a reputation for surviving situations others wouldn't even dare to try, and something about his determination inspired the team, even when the desert seemed impossible. As they climbed a small ridge, Alex noticed a movement far ahead. At first, he thought it was a trick of the light. But then, he saw it clearly, a large, shimmering shape lying motionless in the sand. "Stop," he said, signaling to the team. "Do you see that?" Mira shielded her eyes. "It's huge." Alex squinted. As he got closer, his heart skipped a beat. It wasn't just any creature. It was an alien, enormous and majestic. Its body shimmered in colors that seemed to change with every move, and delicate, translucent wings lay folded at its sides. But the alien was wounded. Sand clung to its glowing skin, and it moved weakly, breathing with difficulty. "It's hurt," Alex whispered, more to himself than anyone else. "We can't just leave it here." The team hesitated. These creatures, if they were intelligent, could be dangerous. Yet, Alex felt a pull he couldn't explain. There was something noble in the alien's form, something that demanded respect. "Captain, we don't know what it is," Mira said nervously. "It could be hostile. Maybe we should—" Alex shook his head. "No, we're explorers, Mira. Our first rule is not to harm, and our second rule is to help when we can. This creature needs us. I'm going to help it." With careful steps, Alex approached the alien. He could see now that it had a humanoid shape, but its features were unlike anything he had ever seen. Its eyes were large, glowing softly like liquid gold, and its fingers ended in delicate, elongated tips. Its wings seemed fragile, yet beautiful, and there was a crown-like crest on its head. The alien stirred, raising its glowing eyes to look at Alex. To his surprise, it spoke, not with sound but with a gentle thought in his mind. "Help me, please." Alex froze for a moment, stunned. Telepathy? He had read about intelligent species that could communicate without words, but he had never experienced it. I'm here to help," he replied, focusing his mind. "Can you move?" "No, cannot." "Walk." Alex's heart sank. The alien was injured badly. He could feel its pain, faint but real. He turned to Mira. "We need to carry it. There's a shelter about 90 miles that might have facilities for it." "I can do this. Who knows how long it would survive out here?" Mira looked at him, torn between fear and respect. "Captain, 90 miles through this desert? Are you crazy?" Alex gave a small smile, not proud but determined. "Maybe. But I can't leave it here, I won't." With careful movements, Alex lifted the alien onto his back. Its wings folded tightly against his shoulders, and its head rested gently on his shoulder. He adjusted his backpack and made sure the alien was secure. Then, taking a deep breath, he started walking. The sun beat down mercilessly, and the sand burned beneath his boots. Every step was a struggle, and sweat poured from every pore. Yet, Alex kept going, using every ounce of his strength and knowledge of desert survival. He used his canteen sparingly, shared his water with the alien, and created shade with pieces of cloth to protect it from the relentless sun. Hours passed. Alex's muscles ached and his body screamed for rest, but he pressed on. He noticed the alien shifting slightly as if it were trying to communicate. You. Strong. Human. Unusual. Alex smiled despite his exhaustion. Thanks, you're not bad yourself. The alien's telepathic tone carried a hint of amusement. Your species survives impossible situations. Admirable. Alex laughed softly. We do what we must. The journey was long, and the desert showed no mercy. They crossed dry riverbeds, navigated around jagged cliffs, and avoided treacherous sand dunes. At night, when the temperature dropped suddenly, Alex built small shelters with what little supplies he had, keeping the alien warm and safe. During these quiet moments, they began to understand each other better. The alien, who introduced itself as Zarina, shared visions of her people, the Velari. She showed Alex glimpses of her civilization, cities built on floating platforms and vast libraries of knowledge. Alex shared stories of Earth, of human ingenuity, and of the simple joys of life, like the taste of fresh water or the smell of rain. Despite the differences in their species, a bond began to form. Zarina admired Alex's determination, his cleverness, and his empathy. Alex in turn was fascinated by Zarina's intelligence, her grace, and the strength hidden beneath her delicate appearance. By the second day, Alex's body ached in ways he hadn't known possible. Every muscle screamed, every step was agony, and yet he refused to stop. He knew that if he gave up, Zarina might not survive, and giving up was not something a human like Alex did, not when it mattered most. That night, under a sky filled with stars alien and beautiful, Zarina spoke again. Human, you carry more than my body. You carry hope for your species and mine. Alex, lying exhausted on the sand, smiled faintly. I just do what's right. That's all any of us can do. Zarina's eyes glowed softly. You are different than others. You endure without complaint. You inspire. Alex chuckled weakly, brushing sand from his face. I guess humans have a few tricks up their sleeves. The desert around them was silent except for the wind, which whispered through the dunes like a gentle encouragement. And as Alex rested for a few hours, he knew the journey ahead would be even harder. Yet, deep inside, he felt a spark of pride and purpose. He was not just a human. He was a human capable of extraordinary things, and he would prove it, not for glory, but for life itself. The sun would rise again in the morning, and with it, the long trek would continue. 90 miles. To safety. 90 miles across the blistering desert. And Alex Mercer would carry the wounded alien queen, one determined step at a time. The sun rose slowly over the endless dunes of Thalara 9, painting the desert in shades of orange and gold. Alex Mercer opened his eyes to the relentless brightness and immediately felt the weight of the day ahead. Zarina, the wounded alien queen, lay across his makeshift stretcher for rest, her wings folded carefully to avoid further injury. Though she could communicate with him telepathically, her body still needed protection and care. Alex had been walking for hours before dawn, and his muscles ached as if every part of him had been soaked in fire. But the thought of Zarina depending on him, of her life resting in his hands, gave him energy he didn't know he possessed. He stood slowly, stretching, and adjusted the straps of his pack. Ready for another day? Mira's voice broke through the silence. She had been walking a few steps behind, watching over supplies and the path ahead. Alex nodded, trying to smile through the fatigue. As ready as anyone can be. Let's keep moving. We've got a long way to go. The desert was merciless. Heat waves danced across the sand, distorting the horizon, and every step required careful planning. Alex used every trick he had learned in years of survival training. He watched for signs of water underground, avoided patches of sand that seemed too soft, and followed subtle ridges where the sun's heat was slightly less intense. Zarina shifted, slightly on the stretcher, her glowing eyes meeting Alex's. Human, you do not rest much. You endure. Admirable. Alex wiped the sweat from his brow. I'll rest when you're safe. That's the important thing. Her thoughts carried a faint laugh. Your species, strange, but strong. They moved slowly, taking short breaks in shaded areas whenever they could find them. Alex rationed water carefully, sharing drops with Zarina, who sipped through a small tube that connected to her mouth. He marveled at her resilience. Despite her injuries, she did not complain, only encouraged him silently, inspiring him to go further. By midday, the desert heat was almost unbearable. Alex's shirt was soaked with sweat, his skin burning under the sun's glare. He used pieces of cloth from his pack to create a canopy over Zarina, shielding her from the harsh rays. The alien queen's eyes glowed softly in gratitude. You think of others, not yourself? Unusual human. Alex chuckled, though his throat was dry. Maybe it's because I've learned humans can survive when we care for each other. That's how we last. The next challenge came quickly. They approached a narrow canyon, its walls rising like molten cliffs on either side. The path was steep and rocky, treacherous for even a single person. Carrying Zarina made it even more dangerous. Alex tested the path carefully, placing his boots on the solidest rocks and checking every step. Mira helped guide him from behind, shouting warnings whenever a loose stone shifted beneath his feet. Halfway, through a small rockslide tumbled down the cliffside. Alex reacted quickly, shifting Zarina to protect her from the falling debris. His hands burned from gripping the rocky surface, but he held on tightly, refusing to let her fall. Once the danger passed, he exhaled, feeling both exhaustion and relief. Human. Courage. Remarkable. Zarina's voice carried pride. Alex smiled weakly. I'm just doing what has to be done. Hours passed, and the desert seemed endless. They encountered dry riverbeds and the scorching sun reflected off the sand, making every movement exhausting. At times, the wind kicked up, swirling sand in blinding clouds. Alex covered his eyes and used his body to shield Zarina, moving slowly, but steadily through the storm. During a rare moment of calm, Zarina shared more about her people. Her voice flowed gently in his mind, painting vivid images. The Velari are ancient, wise. Our cities float above oceans. Knowledge is treasured. We honor those who endure hardship. Humans may understand. Alex listened, fascinated. He shared his own stories, of Earth's oceans, forests, and deserts, of mountains humans climb, and of the simple joys of life, warm bread, laughter among friends, or the feeling of rain on one's face. Zarina seemed captivated by the descriptions, her eyes glowing brighter with each image. The human and alien began to understand each other deeply, bridging the gap between their worlds. Alex realized that intelligence and courage were not limited to one species, but that humanity had a unique combination of resilience, empathy, and creativity that allowed him to survive this journey. Night fell, and the temperature dropped sharply. The desert that had burned under the sun now became cold and unforgiving. Alex quickly gathered stones to build a windbreak, using whatever supplies he could spare. He wrapped Zarina in a thermal blanket, her glowing form reflecting faintly against the dark sand. Human, warmth, comfort. Thank you. Alex smiled. You'll be safe tonight. That's all that matters. He sat next to her, his back against a rock, and allowed himself a brief moment of rest. His muscles ached, and sleep tugged at him, but he kept his mind alert, watching the horizon for any dangers. In the quiet desert night, the stars shone with strange colors, some glowing brighter than Alex had ever seen. He felt small under the vast sky, yet proud of the journey he had undertaken. The next morning brought new challenges. The sand had shifted overnight, covering landmarks and making the path nearly unrecognizable. Alex relied on his instincts, reading the subtle patterns in the dunes, tracking shadows and estimating the direction of the oasis ahead. At one point, they encountered a small desert creature, curious but harmless. It approached cautiously, sniffing the air around Zarina. Alex smiled, realizing that even in a harsh world, life persisted in surprising ways. He allowed the creature to approach, observing it and learning from its behavior. Zarina's thoughts reflected fascination. Your species interacts with life differently. Humans, respect, survival, not dominance. Alex laughed softly. We try to. There's more to life than just surviving. There's helping too. The day wore on, and every step tested Alex's endurance. But he discovered something remarkable. His body seemed to adapt, muscles strengthening, mind sharpening. His human determination became a force that carried them forward, even when fatigue threatened to stop him. By late afternoon, they reached a small ridge overlooking the desert below. Alex paused to catch his breath, his gaze sweeping the vast expanse. Though the journey had been grueling, he felt a spark of hope. The oasis was still far, but it was no longer an impossible dream. Zarina's voice echoed in his mind, filled with admiration and warmth. Human, perseverance, unmatched. You carry more than my body. You carry respect, honor. Alex smiled despite his exhaustion. Then let's keep going, one step at a time. Together they continued, step by step, through the endless desert. Alex's mind focused on survival and strategy, his body pushing past limits and his heart growing with respect for the alien queen he carried. By nightfall, they had covered another dozen miles. Alex found a sheltered area among the rocks, creating another makeshift camp. Mira helped him set up a small barrier to protect from the cold night wind. Alex carefully adjusted Zarina, ensuring she was comfortable and safe. Human, your species, endurance, inspires hope. Alex laughed, softly. I guess that's the human way, never giving up no matter how hard things get. In the quiet of the desert night, with the stars shining brightly overhead, Alex realized that this journey was more than survival. It was a testament to the human spirit, to courage, empathy, and intelligence. He understood now that even on a distant planet, humans had the capacity to rise above limits and achieve the impossible. The journey was far from over. The desert still stretched endlessly ahead, and the oasis was still many miles away. But Alex felt a renewed determination, strengthened by the bond he had formed with Zarina. One day he knew they would reach their destination. And when they did, it would not just be survival. It would be proof that humans could accomplish extraordinary things, even for someone not of their own world. Until then, Alex Mercer, human explorer, would keep walking, step by grueling step, carrying the wounded alien queen across the blistering desert. Because that was what humans did. They endured, they persevered, and they rose to challenges no one else could face. The third day in the desert began with a pale orange sunrise that barely warmed the chilled sand. Alex Mercer shook off his exhaustion, muscles stiff and sore, but determination surged through him like electricity. Zarina, the wounded alien queen, lay across his back, her wings gently tucked against his shoulders. Despite her fragile appearance, Alex felt a deep responsibility and connection to her. They had survived the first 2 days through sheer human resilience and careful planning. Yet Alex knew the desert still had many challenges ahead. Shifting sands, scorching heat, and unexpected obstacles awaited them. But he also knew something else. He had begun to understand Zarina, and she had begun to trust him. Human. Your strength, remarkable. Perseverance, Inspiring. Zarina's thoughts flowed gently into his mind. Alex smiled, despite the sting of fatigue. I guess humans have a way of doing the impossible when we have to. Mira, walking behind, carried supplies and scanned the horizon for danger. Captain, this part of the desert is known for sudden cliffs and soft sand traps. We have to be careful. Alex nodded. I know. Let's move slowly but steadily. Every step counts. The first trial of the day came sooner than expected. A narrow canyon appeared before them, its walls towering and jagged. The path was treacherous, filled with loose rocks and unstable edges. One wrong step could be disastrous, especially with Zarina on his back. Alex carefully tested each foothold. He used his strength and balance to move steadily along the cliffside. Mira guided him from behind, shouting warnings whenever a loose stone threatened to give way. At one point, a small rock slide tumbled down. Alex shifted Zarina slightly, protecting her from the falling debris. He gritted his teeth as his muscles strained, but he refused to falter. Human courage. Extraordinary. You protect and without hesitation. Zarina's voice, soft in his mind, carried admiration. I just do what I have to, Alex replied, glancing at her glowing eyes. That's how we survive. After the canyon, the desert opened into a wide expanse of dunes. The sand shifted beneath his boots, threatening to pull him down. Each step required careful thought and energy, but Alex continued, moving steadily forward. During the climb up a particularly steep dune, Zarina spoke again, her voice filled with curiosity and warmth. Your species adapt quickly. You solve my problems with cleverness. Alex laughed softly. I guess survival teaches you a lot. You learn to think ahead, plan, and improvise. That's how humans last. The alien queen's thoughts carried a faint smile. I understand now. Your determination, your mind, humans. Extraordinary. As the day grew hotter, Alex improvised a shade using his limited supplies. He stretched a piece of cloth over Zarina, protecting her from the sun's harsh rays. Sweat poured from his face, but he didn't complain. He rationed their water carefully, ensuring Zarina had enough to sip from her small tube. The journey was grueling, yet it was also a time for connection. Zarina shared glimpses of her civilization, the Velari's floating cities, their libraries of knowledge, and the bonds of loyalty and respect they valued above all. Alex shared stories of Earth, of oceans, forests, and deserts, of mountains humans climbed, and the joy of friendship and family. Through these exchanges, a deep bond formed. Alex realized that courage, intelligence, and compassion could exist across species, and Zarina recognized the unique qualities humans possessed, the ability to endure hardship, innovate, and show empathy even in extreme situations. By evening, the desert wind began to pick up. Sand swirled around them, stinging Alex's eyes and skin. He moved carefully, protecting Zarina with his body and a makeshift shield of cloth. The storm was relentless, but Alex pressed forward, step by step, drawing on every ounce of strength and determination. During a brief pause, Zarina's telepathic voice carried a thought full of admiration. Human, you endure. For others, your spirit. Remarkable. Unlike any I have known. Alex shook his head, smiling despite the sand burning his skin. It's not about being special. It's about doing what's right. The next challenge was unexpected. A deep crevice hidden beneath loose sand appeared suddenly. Alex felt the ground give way under his boots. Quick reflexes saved him from falling, and he carefully tested the edges to create a safe path. Mira assisted by throwing a rope across for stability. As Alex moved across, he realized this was more than a physical test. It was a trial of patience, problem-solving, and focus, skills that humans often use to survive in harsh environments. Zarina observed silently, her glowing eyes reflecting admiration and trust. Human cleverness. endurance, resourceful, survival, admirable. Alex chuckled. We humans like a challenge. It keeps us sharp. Night fell and the desert cooled dramatically. Alex found shelter among a rocky outcrop, creating a small barrier against the wind. He wrapped Zarina in a thermal blanket and made sure she was comfortable. The desert was silent except for the faint whistle of the wind through the rocks. Human. Warmth. Care. Comfort. Thank you. Zarina's voice was soft, filled with genuine gratitude. Alex smiled, brushing sand from his face. You're welcome. We're in this together. In the quiet night with stars twinkling overhead, Alex felt a sense of accomplishment. They had overcome cliffs, dunes, sandstorms, and hidden crevices. Each challenge had tested his endurance, intelligence, and courage. But he had succeeded. And in the process, a bond had formed that neither species had expected. As he rested, Alex realized something profound. The journey was more than a struggle for survival. It was a testament to the human spirit. Humans could endure, adapt, and protect others even in impossible conditions. This was a quality that no alien technology, no advanced civilization could replicate. Morning brought new hope and new challenges. The desert seemed endless, but Alex had learned to read the subtle signs of the land. Shadows, wind patterns, and the tilt of the dunes guided him toward the hidden oasis. Every step required careful thought, careful energy management, and an unwavering focus on the task ahead. By mid-afternoon, they encountered a curious desert creature, small and unthreatening. It approached cautiously, sniffing the air around Zarina. Alex allowed the creature to come closer, observing its behavior. Zarina's thoughts reflected fascination. Your species interacts with life differently. Humans, respect, survival, not dominance. Alex laughed softly. We try to. Life is not just about surviving. It's about understanding, helping, and coexisting. They continued through the desert, step by step, mile by mile. Alex's body ached, but his determination never wavered. Each challenge reinforced the lessons of resilience, ingenuity, and empathy that humans carried with them. And with Zarina by his side, the journey became more than a struggle. It became a shared experience, a connection between two intelligent species. By the end of the third day, Alex found a sheltered spot among rocks for their camp. Mira helped set up barriers against the night wind, and Alex adjusted Zarina for comfort. They had made significant progress, but the oasis was still far away. Human. Perseverance. Hope. Courage. You carry more than my body. You carry honor. Respect. Alex smiled, brushing sand from his face and sweating hands. One step at a time, Zarina. That's how humans survive and thrive. As the stars shone overhead, Alex realized the journey was far from over. But he had discovered something extraordinary. Humans had the power to endure, to inspire, and to create bonds that could bridge worlds. And as long as he could take one more step, he would keep moving forward, carrying Zarina across the blistering desert, no matter what lay ahead. The desert stretched endlessly, its golden waves rolling under the blazing sun. Alex Mercer's body ached more than ever, each muscle screaming from the grueling journey. Yet, despite fatigue, he pressed on. Zarina, the wounded alien queen, rested on his back, her glowing form steady but fragile. Every careful step carried them closer to the hidden oasis, a safe haven among the harsh desert that promised recovery and the chance to finally meet her people. Captain, Mira called, from behind, adjusting her pack. We're close to the ridge I spotted yesterday. From there we should see the oasis. It's our best chance to navigate the final stretch safely. Alex squinted at the horizon, sweat dripping into his eyes. The ridge loomed ahead, jagged and steep. All right, let's make this last push count. The climb up the ridge tested every ounce of his strength. Loose rocks slid underfoot, and the slope threatened to topple him more than once. He slowed his pace, deliberately placing each foot and carefully shifting Zarina's weight to avoid strain. Mira offered guidance and support, but Alex relied mostly on his own skill and perseverance. Halfway up, a sudden sandstorm erupted, whipping around them with unexpected fury. Tiny grains stung his skin, and the wind tried to push him backward. He instinctively held Zarina tighter, shielding her from the worst of it. Human, your resolve. Incredible. You endure, even when all seems lost. Zarina's voice echoed gently in his mind. Alex gritted his teeth. We're almost there, just a little further. He crouched low, using his body as a windbreaker, moving step by step. The sandstorm seemed endless, yet he refused to stop. Each movement was a calculation: balance, weight, footing, and shielding Zarina. Hours passed, though it felt like a lifetime. Finally, the storm subsided, leaving the desert eerily calm and quiet. Alex looked up, his eyes widening. Below, nestled, in a valley of rock and sand, was the oasis. Greenery shimmered like a mirage, and a crystal-clear pool reflected the sunlight. Palm-like trees swayed gently in the breeze, and small structures glimmered around the water, a settlement of Zarina's. People. Relief flooded through him. They had made it. Human. You carry me. You bring me home. Zarina's thoughts were soft, grateful, filled with awe. Alex took a deep breath. Home. Yes. We made it, Zarina. You're safe now. Descending. The ridge was delicate work. Alex's legs were tired, his arms sore, yet he moved with careful precision. Each step was measured, his balance perfect, as he guided Zarina toward the oasis below. Mira stayed close, scouting paths and ensuring that no sudden obstacles could cause harm. Finally, they reached the valley floor. The air was cooler, scented with the lush greenery and water of the oasis. Zarina's people were waiting, their forms luminous, elegant, and majestic. They watched silently as Alex approached, carrying their queen across the blistering desert. There was no hostility in their eyes, only astonishment, respect, and curiosity. Zarina shifted slightly on Alex's back, her eyes glowing softly as she spoke to her people. Behold, the human who carried me 90 miles across the desert, without faltering, without complaint. The Velari whispered among themselves, admiration clear in their telepathic voices. They approached slowly, circling Alex and examining him. Alex felt a mixture of pride and nervousness. He had never been stared at with such intensity, and yet it was not fear, it was reverence. One of the elders, a tall figure with flowing, shimmering wings and golden eyes, stepped forward. Human, your endurance is unprecedented. We have observed many species, yet none have carried such responsibility with courage and care. You honor us. Alex nodded humbly. I did what anyone would do in my place. I couldn't leave her behind. It wasn't about honor. It was about survival. And helping someone who needed it. Zarina's eyes softened, glowing warmly. No human has ever shown such resilience. Your species, unique, admirable, capable of great courage and compassion. The elder extended a delicate hand toward Alex, a gesture of trust and respect. We wish to care for your queen. You have done what many would deem impossible. Rest now, human. You have earned our gratitude. Alex gently lowered Zarina into the care of her people. They examined her injuries with advanced tools and soft, glowing lights. Zarina lay calmly, trusting Alex and her people completely. He watched as the Velari worked efficiently and respectfully, repairing damage, administering treatments, and ensuring her comfort. Mira approached him, smiling softly. You did it, Captain. You really did it. Alex exhaled, leaning against a nearby rock. The exhaustion of the past days hit him all at once. Every step, every struggle, every painful mile had led to this moment. Yet, despite fatigue, he felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Zarina's voice reached him once more, soft and intimate. Human, I owe you. My life. My gratitude. More than words can express. Alex smiled, wiping sweat and sand from his face. You don't owe me anything, I just did what was right. Her glowing eyes fixed on him, filled with admiration. No, more than right. Extraordinary. Humans. Endure. Achieve. Inspire. Alex shook his head, smiling. I guess humans have a few tricks up their sleeves, that's all. The Velari queen slowly rose, leaning slightly to look at him. Her voice, though telepathic, carried emotion and warmth. Human, you carried me across death's embrace. You have my trust, my respect, my admiration. You are unlike
any being I have known, Alex chuckled softly. Well, you survived too, so I guess we make a good team.
Zarina's people watched silently, clearly impressed by the bond forming between human and alien. One of the elders spoke to the queen. Zarina, he has proven himself worthy in ways few could imagine. Perhaps there is more to this human than we thought. Zarina's eyes glowed brighter, her thoughts directed at Alex. I wish he would stay with me. Not just as a savior, but as a partner, companion, life sharer. Alex froze, understanding the gravity of her words. A bond across species, a connection formed through trust, endurance, and mutual respect. He had carried her, protected her, and shared hardships no one else could imagine. And now, she wanted more than gratitude. Mira, sensing the intensity of the moment, stepped back respectfully. Captain, it seems your work isn't over yet. Alex looked at Zarina, her luminous eyes meeting his. I don't know what to say. This is unexpected. Zarina smiled faintly. Say nothing, only know that your actions, your endurance, your heart, have shown me the strength of humans and the possibility of life together across worlds. Alex took a deep breath. The journey had been long, grueling, and filled with challenges, yet it had led to something extraordinary. Respect, admiration, and the beginnings of a bond that could bridge two civilizations. For the first time, Alex realized that humans were capable of more than survival. They could inspire, create trust, and form connections that no alien technology could replicate. His actions, his endurance, and his compassion had earned the recognition of a species unlike any other. The desert behind them seemed smaller now, insignificant compared to the oasis, the queen, and the bond they shared. Alex had carried Zarina across 90 miles of blistering desert, facing impossible odds, and now he stood at the threshold of a new chapter, one that could change his life, and perhaps the relationship between humans and Velari, forever. As the sun set, casting golden light across the oasis, Alex felt a sense of peace and accomplishment. The trials were not over and there would be challenges ahead, but for now, he had succeeded. He had carried the wounded alien queen across the desert, and she had survived, alive and glowing with life. For Alex Mercer, human explorer, survivor, and now trusted companion, this moment marked not the end, but the beginning of something far greater than he had ever imagined. The oasis was alive with soft, glowing lights as night fell. Alex Mercer stood quietly at the edge of the crystal-clear pool, his body still aching from the 90-mile trek across the desert. Mira had already found a place to rest nearby, and the Velari were tending to Zarina with delicate care. The alien queen lay comfortably in a soft, bioluminescent bed, her wings now fully healed and gently fluttering in the warm night breeze. Alex felt a strange mix of pride, relief, and awe. They had survived the desert, endured challenges that would have broken most beings, And now he was in a place unlike anything he had ever imagined. And through it all, a bond had formed, not just of survival, but of respect, trust, and understanding. Zarina rose gracefully, her wings shimmering in the soft light. She approached Alex, her golden eyes glowing softly, and spoke in her telepathic voice, calm, yet full of emotion. "Human, you carried me through fire, sand, and exhaustion. You endured for me, for my life, and for nothing but what was right." Alex shifted uncomfortably, unused to such direct praise, yet deeply honored. I just did what had to be done. You were hurt. You needed help. That's all there is to it." Zarina smiled faintly, a glow of admiration reflecting in her eyes. "No, there is more. You showed me courage, perseverance, and the greatness of humans. Your species is extraordinary. You are extraordinary." Alex felt heat rise to his cheeks. "Extraordinary? I'm just human." "You are human, yes. And yet, you carry strength, kindness, and endurance beyond what others can imagine. I wish to honor that." Alex frowned slightly, puzzled. "Honor it? How?" Her glowing eyes softened. "I wish to marry you, not only as my savior, but as my partner, my equal, companion, life-sharer." Alex froze, the weight of her words sinking in. Marriage, across species, a bond that spanned worlds. He blinked, trying to process the idea. Yet as he looked at Zarina, majestic, intelligent, and glowing with life, he realized something profound. The journey they had shared had created a bond unlike any other. He had seen the best of human endurance, and she had seen it too. And now, she wanted that bond to continue forever. Mira, standing a short distance away, gave him an encouraging nod. "Captain, it seems your journey isn't over yet. But this is a good kind of challenge." Alex exhaled, letting the tension ease from his shoulders. I think I understand, Zarina, but this is huge, different, unexpected." Zarina's thoughts flowed gently into his mind, full of patience and warmth. "Yes, different. But all things worth having are different. You have shown me your heart, and I offer you mine, as a gift, as a promise." Alex looked around the oasis, at the soft glowing lights, the gentle sounds of the water, and the Velari, watching respectfully. He felt the enormity of the moment. He had carried her across a desert. He had endured heat, exhaustion, and countless obstacles. And now, she trusted him enough to ask for something more than life itself. She asked for partnership, companionship, and a shared future. He stepped closer to her. "Zarina, I've never thought I could be part of something like this, but after everything we've faced, I think I want that too. I want to share this journey with you, not just in survival, but in life." Her eyes glowed brightly, shimmering with emotion. "Then, we will walk together, humans and Velari, across worlds, across challenges, and create something new, extraordinary." The elder Velari stepped forward, their voice telepathic but commanding. "Zarina, your choice is clear. The human has proven himself worthy in endurance, courage, and heart. Should he accept, the union will honor both species and serve as a bridge between our peoples." Alex nodded respectfully. "I accept, with honor." Zarina's glow brightened, a soft warmth radiating from her. "And I accept you, as partner, companion, and friend." The Velari around them hummed softly, a sound like music made of light. The elders extended their hands, and Zarina reached out, holding Alex's in a gesture of mutual respect and commitment. Though the ceremony was simple, it was profound, a union based not on obligation but on admiration, trust, and shared experience. Over the following days, Alex learned more about the Velari way of life. Their floating cities, advanced knowledge, and deep respect for life were unlike anything he had imagined. But he also realized that his human ingenuity and courage had earned their respect. He shared simple ideas, ways to adapt human survival techniques, methods to improve comfort, and stories of Earth's civilizations. The Velari listened, fascinated, and incorporated his suggestions into their daily life. Zarina stayed by his side, their bond deepening beyond admiration into friendship and mutual respect. They walked together along the oasis, exploring the trees, water pools, and softly glowing pathways. Alex taught her about Earth's simple joys, watching sunsets, listening to stories, and laughing at small things. Zarina shared her knowledge of the universe, the Velari's history, and the philosophy of endurance and honor. Human, you teach me patience, humor, simplicity, and yet, you also teach me courage and strength. I am grateful. Alex smiled. And you've taught me so much too, Zarina. About life, about endurance, and about the beauty of trust and across worlds. The days passed peacefully. Alex's body healed, and he discovered that the human ability to adapt had earned him admiration not only from Zarina, but also from her people. He was no longer just an explorer. He was a symbol of human determination, resilience, and empathy. One evening, as the twin moons of Thalara 9 rose in the sky, Zarina spoke softly. Human, together, we will explore, not only deserts, but oceans, stars, life beyond what either of us has known. Humans and Velari, united, in purpose, in heart. Alex took her hand in his, feeling the warmth of her glow and the steady beat of trust. I can't imagine a better adventure. The Velari elders observed, their glowing eyes full of respect. One spoke in admiration. Humans endure, adapt, and inspire. Through this union, we learn that courage and compassion are universal, and that even across worlds, bonds can be stronger than the harshest deserts. Alex felt a deep sense of pride, not for personal glory but for what humans could achieve. He had carried a wounded queen across 90 miles of blistering desert, faced exhaustion, danger, and uncertainty, and in the process, had proven that human spirit could inspire, unite, and bridge worlds. Zarina leaned closer, her glowing eyes warm and serene. Human, my companion, my equal. Together, we will thrive. Together, we endure. Together, we explore. And together, we create. Alex smiled, feeling a sense of wonder he had never experienced before. Together, he echoed. The nights that followed were filled with learning, laughter, and quiet reflection. The Velari shared their knowledge of the stars, and Alex shared stories of Earth. They explored the oasis, the floating cities nearby, and even ventured into the desert, now familiar and less threatening with guidance. Through it all, Zarina and Alex grew closer, not through force but through respect, shared experience, and the mutual recognition of each other's courage and heart. Their bond became an example to both humans and Velari, a testament to the extraordinary potential of understanding and trust. Months later, the formal ceremony was held. Under the soft glow of bioluminescent trees, surrounded by the Velari and a few trusted human explorers, Alex and Zarina exchanged gestures of unity. There were no grand displays of power, no dramatic rituals. Instead, the ceremony celebrated endurance, compassion, and the strength of two beings who had faced impossible odds together and emerged stronger. As they stood together hand in hand, Alex reflected on the journey, the scorching sun, the shifting sands, the grueling miles. Every struggle had led to this moment. And in the eyes of Zarina he saw admiration, trust, and something deeper. A promise of partnership that transcended species, worlds, and expectations. Human, together. Always. Zarina whispered in his mind. Alex smiled, feeling the weight of the desert behind him, replaced now by the warmth of hope and unity. Always, he replied. The night air was filled with quiet celebration. The human and Velari peoples looked on, witnessing not just a union, but the proof that courage, endurance, and compassion could bridge even the greatest differences. Alex Mercer had carried a queen across 90 miles of blistering desert, and in doing so, had carried the promise of friendship, respect, and a future shared between worlds. As the twin moons shone above the oasis, Alex and Zarina gazed at the horizon, knowing that the universe was vast. Challenges awaited and adventures were yet to come, but together they were unstoppable. Human ingenuity and endurance united with Velari wisdom and grace. For Alex, it was the beginning of a life unlike any he had imagined. For Zarina, it was proof that trust and admiration could cross worlds. And for both, it was a story that would be remembered for generations, a story of courage, compassion, and the extraordinary human spirit. Together they walked into the future, side by side, ready to face whatever the universe had in store.